Hey, welcome back to Vice Grip Lodge. End of hay season is officially here. It's time for our third and final cut. It's not a ton of hay, but I still want to get it down because there's some improvements I want to try to make here in the fall to the land itself. Going to be using a lot of the same equipment. We got the old John Deere Haybine here. We're going to have a special guest, my older brother Krang. He's going to be running the 1086 and the John Deere baler. That guy's probably put up more hay in an 86 than anybody I know. And check this out, a new to me highly used bent up V-Rake. It's an 8-wheel. Maybe we'll save some time. Oh, probably not. We'll just be working on it mostly, but we'll see what happens. Let's get started. Well, we had a really dry summer actually until recently with this hurricane. And it put a lot of the fescue into dormancy. It just stopped growing. We got some really thin patches out there. Out of the fields that I have, I'm only going to be cutting 2, and they're not looking that great, but it should be enough to get something off anyway. So let's jump into side by side. We'll go check it out, come up with a game plan. I'll kind of let you know what I'm thinking here. We're going to be donating some hay. But let's figure out how we're going to do this quickly. So I've got a neighbor that I've heard is not doing well health-wise, and went over and had coffee with him, and he had a really bad hay season as well, and he's nervous about this winter. He doesn't have enough hay. I gave him some bales already, but I think I'm going to go ahead and just whatever we can roll up, I'm going to take over to his place and just give them to him. I'm not running cattle, he is. He obviously needs it more than me, and I'm not the kind of guy to charge him for it right now, so let's see what we can get off for him. Awfully thin. It's got some height to it, but it's not the greatest. But growing season is done in Tennessee pretty much. That's fairly decent actually through this draw. But I want to get this nice and short because I got a couple things I want to try to do if I could trade or barter or something here. I need to run a soil test out here on a couple of these areas that I hay, but I really think what I need is lime, and I would like to overseed or top seed. There's some patches everywhere, and it's worse towards the bottom of this particular field, but there's just complete bare patches. That is nothing. And I don't think this has been top seeded in a long time. It's been a hayfield for 150 years, but the problem is I don't have the equipment, and I don't necessarily have the funds from the field just to be throwing at that. So I'm hopeful maybe I could do some bartering or some trading, or hawk an old truck to a farmer or something that has the equipment to come out here and help me out with that. I think I can rent a spreader from the co-op for the lime and maybe have a truck deliver that. Then I can just scoop and load it and stuff like that. But I don't have any way to drill this or anything like that. So maybe I could borrow something or trade some labor or fuel, or I don't know. We got to come up with something. But long story short, I got to get this nice and short to the ground anyway. So after we get this cut and rolled, that'll be the time, if I can figure out a way to do that, to get that done this fall. And then hopefully next spring, you know, May, June, we're looking a lot better and have some more dense hay, and we can get a better yield out of this stuff. I don't have a ton of ground, so you know, every bale counts. Right now the hay is just paying for fuel and the equipment. So it'd be nice if I could, you know, get a pair of boots or a couple of Leathermans off of the old hay operation. You know what I'm saying? Now I got a couple areas of some Johnson grass. Obviously that's not fully matured. Very ripe, but it's still gonna roll up and the cattle will eat it. So we'll probably hit that area too. I'm gonna cut this today, and then we're gonna let it sit for a day, and then we'll dig out that rake, and that should save us a ton of time versus that roller bar. I love the roller bar, but in the sake of time savings with everything I got going on right now, that V-Rake should rake this up in a heartbeat. Dig this thing out one more time and if it doesn't break, we got through a whole season without major repair. Obviously, we did a lot of work to the bar in this before the start of the season and replaced some knives and things like that. This winter, I'm going to look at potentially replacing a few of these pieces, or I might try to find a 1209 instead of a 1207, get a couple more feet on this. Problem is it won't fit through some of my gates at that point. Anyway, I hooked this on a big rock with the 1086. You can see that all the knives are rusty. That's because I pressure washed it to get in there and inspect everything. And somehow that seemed okay. It pulled it hard enough to actually kink this right here. And I thought about trying to straighten it or something like that, but I think it's going to be okay. It's still going to cut just fine, but the tracking is going to be off now. So instead of, you know, the edge of the grass at the very outside of the wheel, it's going to be a little bit off, I suspect. I don't know. But we'll just have to figure that out as we go. Gonna get this hooked up, and then we'll flip the panels up, grease everything, oil the chains, check the tire pressure in it, make sure the fire extinguisher back there is still ready to go. Yeah, we'll drag her over, fire it up, see if I got the hydraulic right. Yep. I like to do back is up. And those new radials we put on are still holding there. I think we're good to go. I gotta find a pin, but I'll get it over by the barn. We'll find a pin for that. All right. Last time I used this, I did have a bolt back out of the wobble box here, but I think I got that fixed, and that's also the belt tension, and that started slipping. The belt's in not good shape, but maybe we can get one more out of her. It is greased to high heaven, and I ain't kidding you. I also filled this chain box. That was dry. But we got that filled up. But this side looks pretty good as long as that belt hangs in there. Sitting here looking at this setup, this chain's a little, maybe that's normal, but it seems just a little too loose for my liking. But this belt is tight. And I'm wondering if somehow there's an adjustment here. This might be the adjustment for the belt itself because everything rides. I'm going to get the manual out. Yeah, I got a manual for one of these. I found it on the interwebs. And let me see if we can do something with that, or maybe that's just how it lives. Well, I couldn't find my manual, but looking at this, there's no way to adjust this. This is obviously the adjuster. So there's got to be, this rod slides into this arm. And I'm just going to back this nut off and tighten it and see what starts crinking and cranking. Might have to loosen this a little bit. I don't know, we'll figure it out though. But yeah, that's a little too loose for my liking. Yeah, so a guy undid this nut. See how loose that is? So if a guy just tightens this, what's that do? I don't know, let's find out. Something's got to happen. It's moving. I haven't loosened anything else. This has got a spring on it, so as this draws tighter, it should just move that, you know, in theory. Doesn't seem to be doing anything. What in the devil? I think the guy's got her figured out. There's two nuts back here that are sitting on like two carriage bolts. Well, the wrench is on one right now. And I just manually adjusted it with the old Persuader 7000. I think this is strictly for reel adjustment or something, or spring tension. So we're going to leave that where it was. But now this is looking much better. Don't want it too tight because it's just going to smoke the bearings, but that's better than falling off. So snug this back up and I think we're good there. Oh yeah, way too much. Perfect. So yeah, we'll go around and open this thing up. You can see where we've cut before, a lot of the leaves have fallen already. So it looks like you could dip in there a little bit more, but it's the danger zone. There's twigs and sticks and rocks over the years have been thrown in there. It's tempting to grab a little more, but you gotta try to stay out of that stuff. Had some trees come down from that hurricane. I need to get out and clean this stuff up too in my free time. This is gonna be really light, but guys already making some calls, trying to do some horse trading. Might have an update on a drill by the end of the day, hopefully. So hopefully we can do some preparation for next season. It'd be nice. So everyone does it differently, but I like to just split the field in half and then work one side to the other back and forth. Using my bale spike as a directional beacon. Just pick that tree out there in the tree row, and if I keep that puppy pointed right at that, I can make a pretty straight line through here, and then we'll just work this side to this side back and forth, widen it up until one side gets narrower than the other, and then I'll just finish that one side out. And of course it depends on who you talk to. Everybody does it differently, but this just seems to be a way that I can feel like I'm getting the most done with the least amount of backing up and turning around and everything else. It is tracking a little bit weird. In fact, I'm going to stop and show you. Got to make some adjustments here. So now normally at this setting here, I can run the tire right to the grass line and this would pick it up, but that's not the case anymore. You can see where my last row was, and it's leaving a strip. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. See that strip? So now I've got to come over that much farther into the groove, leave a space here. Not a big deal, it's just annoying because this was a good gauge to just put the tire right on the grass and know that you pick it all up, but I've got to adjust that over now. The old JD is doing just fine. Making some progress. Looks like Jessica might have brought a guy some dinner, something to drink. Time got away from me. We're well into the afternoon now. Well, the guys got this field all knocked down. Got to trip the Haybine that's rode this over to another section and knock some Johnson grass down quick. Not really sure what's over here. I haven't been over here in a long time, but whatever's there, we're going to take it since we're rolling it over. Shouldn't take too much time though. Got some debris piles and stuff out here I got to keep an eye out for. Haven't had a chance to really get back in here and clean a lot of this up yet. Water is way down actually, which is odd after the hurricane. Up. This Johnson grass is nowhere near ready, but cows will eat it. We're going to take it. Normally this stuff is 6 foot tall through here. And it's not that tall. A couple feet though. Not terrible. Must have hit a couple big ant hills there. Still not used to this little field over here. There's some rocks and stuff that I gotta come out and spray paint this time when I get the hay off. And it's short. Guy can hit them up with a little and then you can see them better when you're coming around the next time. This is the last time I'm gonna go around this way, kind of opening it, and then we'll go the correct way and lick this one up here pretty quick. So thick last time I got some hay down yet that the baler didn't even pick up. Well, we're chewing through that too. Well, we got this little area knocked down. Well, a guy just tried to cut a path around the pond to get into the other side. Ooh, that was a little sketchy. Well, first of all, there's a big tree down there I didn't see. Got up on that a little bit. But anyway, we're going to call it quits while I'm ahead. Nothing is broken. Everything is still rolling. So I'm going to trip this thing, rode it back to the house. I got to grab a pickup and get to the airport quickly because Crane is coming in tonight. So I got to go swoop him up. And then we'll get to Raking and Baling here shortly. Okay, I've got the 1207 unhooked. I've got the rake. This is a Gale 418. We got 4 of the whirly-woos. I got this for 500 bucks. I thought that was a good deal. The guy got a big one. It's got like 5 or 6 wheels, and the end one is hydraulic. So he was looking to just offload this, and it seemed like a price I couldn't pass up. Got it hooked up, just tested the hydraulic. It did lift. It looks like these pins got to come out. And then that will let us lower it. Meanwhile, Chris is over adding oil to the 1086 over there. He might end up raking and I'll do baling because he's not familiar with the bale monitor and all the levers and that. So anyway, let's see if this goes down. Ah, well, that's pretty slick. We got anything to grease? Those look like cap bearings. So I guess there wouldn't. Those are sealed. Wow, low maintenance rig. I guess that's it. Ready to rock. Well, the guy's got a draw somewhere on the 1086. So we're gonna go rake a couple smaller areas first, and then move towards more closer to home as we get in the dark. By the time we're ready, we should be able to fire up the 1086. Chris is going to follow me with the side-by-side and some tools and junk and stuff just in case. We don't know what this thing's going to do, but it should be a whole lot faster. I don't know if it's going to be as neat, and I do like my roller bar, but we'll see what happens. So normally this would be 3 runs with the roller bar, because I got to fold each side into the other. Really light here, obviously, but just kind of looking at all the wheels, making sure everything's doing what it's supposed to do. We're not moving very quick, I'll tell you that, but we'll see what happens if we get into some heavier stuff. And maybe I need to pick my speed up a little bit. Can't really out here though. Going quick. I do like that. Huge time savings. And I guess they're just not as violent as the roller bar. I'm used to so much clanking and hammering and things flailing around and whatnot, but that's it. Nice and calm, easy. You see why these are so popular. Well, we're bailing. It's gonna be light, keep saying that, but just want to emphasize I'm just trying to get this hay off of here so we can put lime down and overseed, and we want to put some ash and some other stuff down as well. Well, it's about a week and a half later. Hay season is officially complete, and we made it without breaking anything major. Just a bunch of light maintenance. But next year we probably got a belt and the baler we got to do. Thinking about replacing the sickle bar on the 1207 and maybe straightening out that tongue. But hay season isn't actually over yet. Now we need to prepare for next year. Hey, remember that neighbor I gave some bales to? Well, he re-neighbored me back and said, hey, I heard you were looking to overseed. So that's what we're going to be getting ready to do right now is we'll go grab the little John Deere, hook onto this. Got to run in and get some seed. You can hear Bentley in the back. He's mowing around some fence posts and gates right now. We got to get all this down. And also had some lime thrown on while I was gone. Turns out that's really not that expensive in the south. It's really common. I was thinking it was going to be astronomical, but it wasn't. A couple handshakes. That is down. I'll show you what that looks like. Kind of hard to see. See that white powder? We'll go over here to some of the areas we're really going to seed, but you can see how patchy it is now that it's cut. And this is why we want to overseed this. We want to get some fresh fescue in here. Here's a big clump of lime. And you can see it kind of looks like a snow dusting over the dirt here. And I'm going through, this is a pile that a landscaper dumped in here. And for whatever reason, well, I know why, it was the cheapest dirt available. He didn't even get screened fill dirt or topsoil. So it's full of rock. So I've been out here just picking rocks by hand. We don't want to run this through the hay buster. And I'll show you why here in a little bit, but I'm gonna finish picking rock. Got a few of these piles to go through yet. Just getting the big stuff up. Don't want to mess this machine up. And then we'll get the John Deere, pull the hay buster over to the barn, get it loaded with seed, and then we got to figure out how to adjust that machine, which shouldn't be too bad. They typically have charts and stuff like that on them. Boy, I'm gonna be here for a while, I think. Another thing I'm doing really quick, I got some spray paint here. What do we got? Daytona yellow. Sure. I'm just going around trying to find, I've got some exposed boulders or rocks out here. And I got to lift the discs up to make sure I don't bounce them off of that. So I'm going to go out and paint these rocks. I've been wanting to do this anyway, even for just mowing. I kind of remember where they are, but we could really mess some knives or guards up on this if not. So we'll go find these. Yeah, these big boys right here. I gotta find someone that's got a backhoe or something I can borrow. These just need to be pulled out. But they're big. I mean, these could end up being, you know, massive boulders. But for now, I'm just gonna mark them. Look at all that lime. I think it'll blow away. Not really. I'm just making yellow lime. It's fancy. Got it at Walmart. If some of this sticks to the rock, or at least I can see it this time. Once she's cleaned up, we can come back and hit her again. There, much better. So I think we'll be using this guy to do the seeding, keep the hours off the new rig. This is a John Deere 1120 diesel. The 1120s were made between 67 and 75, and these are actually made in Germany. They're about 50 to 55 horsepower. This one's probably 12. It's really used up, but it gets the job done. These are actually, like I say, made in Germany. Here's some of the Werschenlagen, Dugan, Dunder, and based on the serial number, starting in 076, I believe this is a 67, late 67 or 68, so it's kind of the first years. It runs pretty good. She's been fully maintained. Nothing else really works on the thing. Tires are absolutely shot, but just trying to get everything we can out of her for an old cheap tractor. It's got a drawbar and hydraulics. That's really all a guy needs. This one's fueled up. It's already topped off on oil. Let's see if it fires. Okay. Neutralis. Fuel pump on. There we go. Let this warm up for a minute and then we'll head over and grab it, and we'll actually bring it here, figure out how to adjust it and everything, and load it with seed, and then we'll take it back to the field. Well, this thing pivots on this front tire, and I can't move this side to side. So what I'm going to do, pull this pin, slide the drawbar over, drop the pin in, and then I'll just pull the tractor this way and drop that pin back in. There we go. All right. Get this thing back. 107C is the model number. This is a new one on me. I hit my TA and get some more speed. All of a sudden the load got light. What in the devil is going on? I'll figure this out now. Pin fell out. My whole pin under here fell out. The pin plate thing. And then you put a cotter key through it, and that's what holds this. You can adjust this bar in and out. And I walked and walked and walked and walked and walked and cannot find it. So I guess we're gonna hit the barn, see if we can make something quick. So as far as that goes, I think I'm just gonna use a grade 8 bolt and find or make a plate, weld it, and we'll put a cotter pin through it, and that should hopefully hold that. And then I got to monkey in with this. I like the flap, don't get me wrong, but it's so short that it goes right into a guy's teeth, and the carbon monoxide after a while, you know, a guy gets sleepy. We got stuff to do. So I got a stick of 2.5 laying around. Can a guy whip up a taller pipe with a kink on her and get the exhaust out of our face? I mean, this one only goes up a couple feet, and that's about right where my face is, so we need to go another couple foot or two, and then just, you know what I mean? It's gonna be louder. Ain't got a muffler, but oh well. Well, maybe I got one. Let's look. So we've got a 5/8 grade 8 bolt, which fits right in that pin, and then this plate thing. I think this is actually a spacer to the 1207 hitch setup, but if I weld this right there, that should work. This basically plugs in, and then there's a cotter key that keeps this from falling out, and a bolt that comes under the back. This isn't threading into anything, it's just a shear factor. So the drawbar sits around this essentially in the case of the rear, and this is what's holding it in there. Hey Theodore, what are you doing? Getting big, little dude. Okay, test fit this. Where am I at? Oh, perfect. Finish welding that in. Good to go. Well, we got that burned in. Not pretty, but it's gonna work. Let's go plug it in. Well, there we go. Assembled, pinned, and locked. That's not going anywhere. Oh, wait. That's not going anywhere. Okay, so I've got this here part belled and then flared. And that fits right on there. Nice and tight, and I can get a clamp over that. Now I'm going to see if I can get this to 3-inch, because then I'll have a muffler option if I get this to 3-inch. A little bit of a gap in there, but a guy got it burned in, and now we have a 3-inch Flow FX muffler. So now I just need a chunk of 3-inch. We'll flare that and then put a whoop on her. You know what I mean? Well, and here's the finished product. I used the Vice Grip Garage Rebuild Black aerosol paint on it, which is still in the testing phase, but it's resistant up to 600 degrees. It's basically engine paint. And the sheen will come down on it as it dries and gets hot. But now we've got a smokestack, Flowmaster with a little kick on her, and I'll just add a clamp. And then we can finally get back to what we started doing today, overseeding. Well, there we go. Sure, it looks fine actually. It's gonna work. Sounds kind of weird, but it's getting the smoke out of my face. Well, we got her over to the barn and started climbing around this thing, starting to figure it out. This is a till or no till rig, so we can use this in the hayfield. We don't have to till it. That's what these discs or openers are for right here. And I just got to figure out how to set this thing up. I'm going to walk around it for a few minutes. There's going to be some openers. There's one right here for the back box, a gauge, and then there's one on the front. And that adjusts your flow of seed. There's little pickups in there. See those little flappers? That's going to be throwing that seed down these pipes right behind the openers. That throws it in the ground. These are in the shape of a V. And then once that seed's in the ground, this comes behind it and closes it, or seals it up essentially. This is the drive wheel up front, so when you lower it down, that wheel makes contact with the ground, runs the shaft, runs these chains, comes up to here, and that's what runs both boxes, those flappers there essentially. Hydraulics hooked up, got those tested, had to bleed a line to get it connected. So now, let's get it loaded with seed, and then we'll figure out adjusting. Right now I'm going to close this all the way. You can see those windows disappearing. It's just like a fertilizer for your front yard, just a titch bigger. There, we are closed. Now I'm not going to be dumping seed out. Found this handy chart right under the old lid, and it shows us the type of grass or seed over here. I mean, there's wheat, barley, oats, rye, soybeans, buckwheat, alfalfa, flax, fescue, which we're doing. We're doing a fescue rye mix, mostly fescue. And it looks like I'm going to use pointer setting 8. And that would give us a healthy 23 pounds an acre, which I think is more than enough for what we're doing. So all I have to do is just, when we're ready to go, run this to 8. And that's pretty much there. Now you could test your feed rate by putting a tarp down or a pan or something, spinning the drive wheel, and looking at what's coming out, but I don't think we need to get that carried away. These spacers here, you can adjust these by pulling that pin and adjusting them there. Looks like they're all under 2 washers. And I'm going to trust what Ben's got going on, because he's been doing this for a very long time, although I see he accidentally missed. So we will pull that and put 2 washers on top so they're all equal. And then once we get this in the field, we might have to make some adjustments with the drill down. These parallel bars here, the front bars have to be higher than the rear bars, because obviously we're wanting the rear wheels to tamp as we go through. But that's really about it. I just got to load this thing up now. Show you the seed. Nothing fancy. Cheapest actually. It's just a contractor's mix, because we're in the fall. And it is like a, where's the tag? Here we go. So 71% fescue, 25% ryegrass, and basically the rest is just dirt, dust, whatever, inert matter. And it's a 50-pound bag. This was tested in September. So I'll see how many I can fit in the bin. And then we got to get to work. We got a really late start to the day with all the dinking around. And that's what 6 bags looks like in here. Pretty well full. I don't want to spill any in the gravel over here. Should give us a little over 12 acres. And then I guess we'll either come back or have someone bring us a truck or side by side so we can get some more seed and fill it. But for now, that's gonna work. Well, I got it lowered down and that looks right. So now we will open this up. 8. Right there. Gives us a little window. We should be ready to rock. Now I'm gonna go a long ways, but if I have time, we're gonna go back and forth short way too. So we're crotch-assing this way and this way. Really try to pound some seed in, but I'm gonna open it up first and then do long ways. Can't turn with this in the ground, so it's a lot of backing up and this and that, but let's get after it. It's gonna be a long day. Well, the guy's been at it for quite some time. This is the top part here. I did a couple rows back and forth. Anyway, stopped on the top of the hill here. Check on the tractor. I don't have a temp gauge on this. It's bubbling, but I think it's all right. We're running about 2,000 RPM, low 4 gear, but with the TA on. Right around 3 miles per hour. Everything else seems to be going pretty good. Gonna check over the drill and just make sure everything is good here, and we'll take a look in the bins, see how much seed we've used so far. Definitely going down. Of course, it's in that front edge here. The center of the bin is, well, the center of the bin. So that hopper flows this way. This one flows that way. But it's chewing the seed, which is what we want to see. It is hot today, but it could be a lot hotter. But everything is going really smooth so far. Hopefully I can get the majority of this field done today. Well, we're doing a quick fuel stop here. Top it off. Let this thing cool down for a minute. Sun's going down a little bit, which is nice. It was hot today, which is great, but pretty average-ish for October here. Boy, these tires are just hanging on for dear life. John Deere's doing good. It does slip coming uphill a little bit every now and then. It's digging for traction. This thing is a lot heavier than I thought it was, I guess, but we're making progress. We're about 40% of the way done with this one. Yeah, you can kind of see these tracks here, there and there. That's where she's really digging. Just barely starting to spin. But we are on a pretty good hillside, quite honestly, up top here. So anyway, get the side by side all the way, park at the shade, let's keep rocking. on. It's really just a slow fast. Boy, I caught it just in time. Doesn't look like it was empty completely, but you can't get any closer than that. Oh, maybe it was not. Might have to redo my last row. All right, fighting sun going down. Got to fill this thing up. Got to try to finish at least this part here tonight. Okay, let's fly back over and get her filled. Maybe enough to finish tonight anyway. Okay. Well, good morning. 74 Niner 6 12 19 yellow, early o'clock. Sun just came over the trees here. Beautiful morning, quiet, calm, tons of dew. Ran out of light late last night, but we have got to get at it. We've got a lot of seed to get in the ground. Gonna load up the side by side with more, head out to the field. Gonna take some fuel and probably oil with. I'm assuming the old deer used up a little bit. We got to get at it once again. Well, surprisingly, I did pretty good in the dark last night. It was right on the money. That's where I shut it down though. I couldn't see nothing. Okay, so let's fill the hopper. Hindsight, I should have started with the very front bin, although it's smaller, because these little inlets you could see from the front, and then I would know if I'm out of seed, but that's all right. We cut her close yesterday and I'm just overthinking it. All right, so let me fill this up first and then we'll go work on the tractor. Ow, I'm an idiot. Left those out. Earplugs are all wet. All right, let's see what the Earl says to us. What are you saying? What do you got? Well, it's got some in it. The hash mark is, there it is, yeah. Overfull. Perfect. She was just changed up not too long ago. So, go ahead and crank. See if this old thing will fire up this morning. The battery's getting weak on it. It's out of like a riding lawnmower. Literally. Okay. Never start a tractor in front of the rear tire. So that's what I'm going to do. Come on. Yeah, not enough battery this morning. Oh, I knew that too. Now I gotta run all the way back to the house to get a jump box. Oh, I'll be back in 7 days. Okay, got the jump and carry on it. There we go. Well, I got an issue with the tractor, but I was going to show you this first. This is cross hatching. So basically I've run both ways. You can see why our army worms got this, which is a type of caterpillar. But they've pretty much just smoked patches of the fields. We got to it pretty quick with spray. You can see that lime down. But I ain't got no hydraulic control. Good sized leak here. Looks like a loose fitting maybe, hopefully. I'm sure it's gotta be. I'll have to get some rags and some hydraulic oil, some tools. See if we can patch this up. We got quite a bit to do yet today. Run the old truck in the town, get some hydraulic oil. Low on wind on a tire, for Pete's sake. Here pretty soon this truck's gonna need valve seals, and it's got an intake leak. Basically the top end needs to come off. But I've just been so busy with everything else, I've just been neglecting it, letting her smoke, and baby in the throttle. It's got a lean pop in it if you kind of jump in it, but it's a good old truck, and we drive the wheels off of this thing, which I have some wheels coming. We might spruce this up. It needs a seat and some door cards, some basic stuff. Should put this on Vice Grip Garage and do a little bit more of a makeover on it someday. Okay, I think we're back. I got that fitting tight. Took up the whole pail, but we've got hydraulic control back. Phil's right here, and the dipstick on these is tired. Okay, let's get back at it. Filling again, and then we'll top the cedar off once again. Got the old red dye egg special. Tractor's doing great. That leak is fixed or subsided. Hydraulics are working great. It's not getting hot. It's pulling all right. Needs tires soon though. They are chunking bad. Well, it's the following morning. Guy did drill all the way till dark again, and then brought her over to the house early this morning, washed it down, greased everything. I try to return things that I borrow, if at all possible, better than when I got it. This thing's in pretty darn good shape, but just looked it over, and if I had damaged anything, I would make note, etc. Now we're going to hook her on the Deer Max and pull this thing back. Got to go grab Jessica though to line me up so I could drop the old pin in there. Kind of lost you last night. I had some seed left in the hopper after I finished what I could do with the time that I have, and decided to go over to a neighbor's place and throw some seed down in his horse pasture. So spent some time over there and just didn't want to show his property out of respect. So, but that's it. Hay season officially done. We got 3 cuts out of it. No major breakdowns. We got lime down. We've overseeded. Everything's going great. Might do some potash here a little bit later. And next year we should have an even better hay season, hopefully. I don't know, you guys want to see it all again? Do it over? Thinking about getting a 9-foot Haybine of some kind maybe, or I don't know, you guys let me know. Should we try to run square bales just for giggles? Should we run a sickle bar mower with an old Ford 9N and just be miserable? I don't know. Bloop it down there in the comments, but either way, appreciate you guys watching so very much, and we'll see you pretty soon.